care. He's old. You know what I mean? I was waiting for that. I was expecting him to do that game 4, game 5. He wanted to say something when I got my 4th foul. He should have been saying that earlier on. But, you know, I poke bears. I don't respect no one until they come and give me 40.
Dillon Brooks is underappreciated. Yes, I said it. So before I elaborate, let's get a couple of things out of the way. So first, Dillon Brooks sucked against the Lakers in the first round of the series. He was a big reason why they lost. I mean, averaging 10 points on about 30% field goal shooting is absolutely not going to cut it. Second, it is very arguable that Dillon Brooks' trash talk clearly woke up LeBron James and also costed the Memphis Grizzlies the series. After one of the early wins in the series, Dillon Brooks was calling LeBron old and saying he only respects people that dropped 40 on them. And then all of a sudden, LeBron woke up and the Grizzlies got crushed like little bugs. And the irony of it all was, in the closeout game 6, the Lakers beat the Grizzlies by 40. So I guess Dillon Brooks had it coming a little bit. What was also, admittedly a bad look was Dillon Brooks not being available after, either of the last 2 losses that the Grizzlies had, when he was doing all of this trash talking after the games they won, and then all of a sudden disappeared and wouldn't speak to the media. So those are very legit things that people were criticizing Dillon Brooks about. If you're gonna go trash talk, you absolutely have to back it up. So news came out the other day, once the Grizzlies got eliminated by the Lakers, that the Grizzlies, under any circumstances, would not be bringing Dillon Brooks back to the team. Dillon Brooks was done in Memphis. So what was immediately apparent was the Grizzlies ownership and front office was putting all of the Grizzlies' failure and the culture problems on Dillon Brooks. I guess ownership in the front office forgot about Ja Morant being fine in the West.
Who do you look at around the league as you're studying and say, we're going to have to run through them?
Celtics.
No one in the West.
Nah, I'm fine in the West.
I guess they also forgot about Ja Morant at the club with a gun, getting suspended, and making the Grizzlies a laughingstock. But look, I know. Ja Morant is a superstar. Dillon Brooks is a role player. Ja Morant's like a top 10 player in the league, and comparing that to Dillon Brooks is not fair. I totally get it. But for the Grizzlies ownership to just throw Dillon Brooks under the bus like that, I thought it was a pretty bad look for the organization. Yes, absolutely, they have a right to not bring Dillon Brooks back. If they don't feel like he's a fit, fine. Just don't re-sign him. But to throw in a phrase like under any circumstances was holier than thou. I hated it. I hate it for them. And look, for the public right now, it has become very fun and in style to make fun of Dillon Brooks. It's the underachieving statistically, the underachieving of the Grizzlies, waking LeBron up, not speaking to the media after. Some of it's very warranted, I'll admit. No doubt. He has become a villain. But I don't think we're appreciating Dillon Brooks enough. For a couple reasons. Number one, let's not act like Dillon Brooks is some bum. He averaged 15 points a game. He's only 27 years old. And he's a very good defender. In a league that, players fraternize with the opponents, they're hugging after and all that, Dillon Brooks does the exact opposite, and I kind of like it. He is genuinely a villain. He is somebody that fans across the league, and players for that matter, kind of love to hate. But that is good for the league. It's not fun watching all of the hugs, but it is fun hearing someone who's, an above average player, for whatever reason, talking all of this absurd trash to the greatest player of our generation, LeBron James. And also, let's not pin Dillon Brooks in the same category as Giannis's brother.
Thanasis fouled. And now Griffin.
The dude averages 15 claps and 4 let's goes a game. Dillon Brooks is a legitimate hooper. And if Dillon Brooks could mature just a little bit, he could find a fantastic role on a new team and make Memphis and the fans eat their words. When I look at two teams that would actually benefit from Dillon Brooks and what he brings and what people aren't appreciating, I look at Dallas and I look at the Bucks. And especially Dallas. I mean, they have the star power with Luka Doncic, and if they're able to bring back Kyrie Irving, but they lack intensity, especially on the defensive end. You put Dillon Brooks on, make him the small forward of the team, and he's doing that lockdown D, and he can kind of play alongside Luka and Kyrie. I think that team improves a ton. And again, he's only 27 years old. He's young, and I think a good coach could get the best out of him. So even maybe the Miami Heat. You have the physicality with Jimmy Butler, and Eric Spoelstra to me is probably the best coach in the league. You get Dillon Brooks to simmer down a little bit. He joins a team. He can average 15 a game, albeit on better field goal percentage than 39%. He could become the likes of a Bill Laimbeer. Now you might say that's a little drastic, a little much. Yes, Bill Laimbeer is a 2-time champion, but he was no star. He was the guy, having an instrumental part in the Jordan rules. He was clotheslining Larry Bird. But because the Pistons won 2 rings, Bill Laimbeer is appreciated in history at this moment. Dillon Brooks joins the team, carves out a role. He could be that next guy. He could make Memphis eat their words for, throwing all the blame on him. And he can make NBA fans eat their words if he can sort of prove them wrong. If he can keep the intensity up, especially on the defensive end, but not say stupid stuff afterwards. Say intelligent stuff. Don't be hugging the opponent, but don't be talking to LeBron James. When you've accomplished very little and he's, one of the greatest players of all time. So a villain is very good for the NBA. And again, that's why I really do think Dillon Brooks is underappreciated. His skill set's getting overlooked a little bit because of all of his antics are overshadowing it. But the bottom line is he's a guy that can put up 15 to 20 a game, can get streaky from 3, can lock down a guy, and will stay loyal to his team, and will fight, and won't be hugging, and won't take losing well, and it's all good. Dillon Brooks is not going to be the kind of guy that's going to say there's no failure in losing. So I do appreciate that. So Brooks, mature a little bit. Go prove everybody wrong on the next team. And keep the intensity up and, keep being good for the NBA. Because a villain is good for the NBA.